And let's start by taking some support and bringing it underneath your shoulders and make your way down to the mat, supporting your head. Bend your knees, put your feet on the floor, close your eyes. Find a place where you're comfortable here. And I invite you to put your palms up, fingers relaxed. Consider this a gesture of being willing to receive. You have to be willing to be an open vessel. Maybe not be choosing what you're going to receive, but just be willing to receive here with your eyes closed, whatever might be placed in the palm of your hand. Even though you're in a reclined position and this is the way that we sleep, I'd like to bring your attention to your breath. In a way that's different than the breath that you might have when you're just resting. Because this is an intentional breath. See if you can draw your breath in through your nose and out through your nose. And feel the change in your chest and your abdomen as you inhale. And then let it drop as you exhale. Intentionally try to lengthen the inhale. And then match the length of your exhale so that if normally we take 15 breaths per minute when we're not stressed and we're just upright, we're going to cut that pace down in half. No need to count. It's just happening. Because you're being intentional. Keep your eyes closed. Lift your arms up above your head. Palms are still up, but reach your hands long back behind you. Taking a big stretch through your fingers, stretching through your shoulders. And then relax the tops of your hands on the floor and gently sway your knees from side to side. If it feels right for your hips to roll up off the mat as you do that, that's totally fine. I want you to take your time. Sometimes the bottom half of our body is doing all the work. It's running around. It's getting us up and down. And unless it hurts, we don't pay attention. So just bring your awareness here to what it feels like in your hips, what it feels like in your knees as you bring your knees side to side, bent legs. What it feels like in your ankles and your toes. And see if as you windshield wiper your knees side to side here, if you could slow down and take a little extra time as your knees drop, maybe to the left. Your right hip might roll up off the floor, but keep your right shoulder grounded, chin neutral. Just taking some extra time, letting gravity pull the knees down towards that side. Take a breath in before you travel and use the exhale as your motion to move towards the other side. When you drop your knees to the other side, feel how it lengthens the opposite waist. So if your knees go to the right, I can feel the stretch all the way from my left elbow down to my left hip and through my left quad. And that's what I mean about bringing awareness, just acknowledging this body, this space. Bring your knees back to center. Bring your hands to your knees and gently hug your knees into your chest. If it's like the right thing for you to do, to rock a little bit side to side, hugging your knees in, you might feel called to roll just a little bit. Do that. Let your feet go soft. And this whole time, let your eyes be closed. Like you were rolling something underneath the small of your back. Just rock back and forth a little bit. Feel yourself come to neutral and use a little pressure. Hug your knees into your chest. Draw your elbows in closer to your thighs. Relax your feet. Keep your chin neutral. Just squeeze here. Keep your right knee hugging in. Let your left leg go out long. Now you can clasp both hands on the front of your right leg and hug your knee into your chest. You might feel a little pinching or squeezing where your right hip flexor is. That's your groin area where your knee, where the top of your leg bends. Hug in here, but keep your neck nice and soft and relaxed. And if it's too much to have your left leg extended, you could bend your left knee. Take a big breath in, and on your exhale, use a little vigor and squeeze that leg tight to your chest. This is called wind relieving pose. Think of stimulating your colon, squeezing the side of your intestinal body, hugging in. Increasing sensation in a place where we normally don't pay any attention because the things that happen here with these organs are automatic. Release that leg. Extend your right leg long. Before you draw your left leg up, take another big stretch. Arms up above your head, reaching fingers to toes. Let yourself melt into the mat for a moment. And let's take this moment to pause. Reflect on the last 24 or 48 hours of your life, your experience, the bounty that is right in front of you. And I invite you to be specific with your gratitude tonight. It can be the smallest things. It can be the beautiful eggplant in your garden. It can be the comfort of your kitty cat right next to you. What are you grateful for today? Noticing those small things. Those are what define you and your experience, that make it different than mine, different than someone else's. You're allowed to appreciate and notice the little things. Gently draw your left knee into your chest. Clasp both hands on the front of your left knee. Let your left foot relax. Perhaps your eyes are still closed now, and it's just a full sensation of what's happening in your left leg. Take this moment and thank your legs for holding you up, for being your transportation when you need to get from one point to another, for supporting the upper half of your body. being your base. With sincere gratitude for this body. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, use some tension. Hug harder, squeeze your left thigh towards your left ribs. Allowing some compression through the left intestinal organs. Squeezing here for just a moment. Still remembering to breathe. This is part of how yoga changes your brain, because you have intention, even under small moments of stress. Release your leg. Another big stretch, hands overhead. This time, point your toes. Really take an opportunity to make yourself as long as you can. And then putting your feet on the mat, roll over to your right side. Take a moment here, resting your hand on the floor, supporting you up, having your head resting on your extended right arm. Take your left hand up to the sky here, and then just reach your left hand behind your back. Maybe reaching for the floor behind you, bending your elbow. Just taking a big stretch here, reaching behind you. I'm trying to draw my left shoulder back. Some tension of the top of my left hand pressing into my back or waist helps with that. Breathe here. We'll release that hand, release that shoulder. While we're here on your side, reach your left hand for your left ankle. The knees are soft. And gently pull your left heel towards your left glute, just to the degree that you can. For some of you, this might be quite intense to the front of your left leg. For some of you, it might just feel more gentle. You go as far as you need to, but notice if you're collapsing towards the floor, I want you to really be lifting that left shoulder up and back. Breathe. Always breathing. Gently release your left foot. Roll back onto your back. I've still got my little support underneath my head, so I roll back onto that, and then we'll roll onto the other side. So taking your left hand out, roll over onto your left side. I've got my left arm reaching above me so that I can support the side of my head with my left arm. Take your right hand up towards the sky. Bend your elbow and reach back behind you, letting your fingers come to the mat, bringing contact of the front of your hand to the small of your back or reaching for your left waist. Pull your right elbow and your right shoulder back. It takes practice to figure out how to bring tension to just one piece of the whole puzzle. So if your whole body is the puzzle, you don't need to have tension in your toes or your jaw right now. The only place that you're trying to find that resistance is through the right shoulder, right elbow, right arm. Intentionally try to breathe and let the other parts be soft. Draw your right hand back up and then gently reach for your right ankle. Acknowledge if there's a difference between your two legs, two hips. We look symmetrical, but we're not exactly. Bring your right heel towards your right glute to the degree that you can, and see if you can just gently draw that leg back a little bit so not collapsing down towards the floor. If If that hurts your knees, then just back off a little bit. Maybe reach more for the toe. Or you could just hug your knee in towards your side and to your waist. Release that leg. Roll all the way back onto your back. And this time, hug your knees into your chest again. And take a happy baby, reaching for the outside of your feet. 2 ways to do this. You could reach peace fingers to big toes. Sometimes I like that because I feel like then I have an anchor and I can really pull my knees down towards my armpits. That gets a little bit more opening through that hip flexor, that groin space, and through the tops of the feet. Or you can reach for the outsides of your feet. You can't quite get as much tension, but you could get more opening here. So that allows me to open my feet apart, getting the stretch more into the inner thigh and hamstring. So play with both. Good. Release your feet. Bring the soles of your feet together. Reclined bound angle. Knees are bent out to the side. Soles of your feet together. Bring one hand to your heart. One hand to your belly button. There's all kinds of things happening in each of our lives, related and not related to the fact that we're in a pandemic. We saw a friend that we know when we were running it at the park this morning with Ava. And she said to me, "How can you always look so calm? It's not some Zen yoga secret, and it's not that I don't care." But I was really sincere when I said, I know that we're going to be okay. Because I'm just focusing on the most important things. It's kind of the things that you can't open your eyes and look at. It's not what kind of furniture you have or what kind of car you have or whether you have something that is fashionable or not. It's the people. It's your purpose. It's your alignment with what you really are. And I suspect you are that person too, because you take this time to set everything else aside. Show up and be still. This takes courage. Gently bring your knees back up to center. We're going to make our way up to a seat. And how you get there is up to you. You might feel like you want a little bigger and you could just hug your knees in and roll up, or roll over onto your side and gently push your way up. But we'll find ourselves seated at the top of the mat, and this is where your support, your blanket or your cushion might help you a little bit. Find an easy pose. That's with your legs crossed, not tightly, just one heel in front of the other shin as it is normal and feels natural to you. Take a moment, settle here, breathe. If there's something that you need to let go of, I remind you of what you already know, that you will be lighter when you stop carrying it around. Lay down the burden that is no longer yours to bear so that you can be lighter. Take your right hand, reach for your left knee. You can keep your eyes closed. I'll tell you exactly what to do. Gently sweep your left hand up towards the sky. Drop your right shoulder, lean and reach towards the right with your left hand. So right hand to left knee, left arm comes up, and then lean towards your right. If you're okay with your neck, turn your gaze a bit towards your left elbow. Allow your right elbow to soften, but you've got a good anchor here of your right hand reaching to your left knee. Take an inhale, reach long through your left fingers, and use your exhale to travel all the way back up. Drop your left hand to the mat, soften that elbow a lot, reach through the right. Keep your right hip grounded, but see if you can extend through your right elbow. So if you're pulling your elbow back, allow your arm to really reach long, bringing your elbow closer to your ear. Spark all 5 fingers so you have energy through that hand, and this activates all the way through your waist into your hip, grounding energetically through your right hip. Take a breath in, reach. Exhale, come back to center. Take your left hand, reach for your right knee. Take your right hand up towards the sky and lean towards the left. Turn your gaze, if you can, towards your right elbow. Try to be in a place where you're creating enough tension from your hand to your knee that you can work against that to get really long through this same side body without rolling that hip too far up off the ground. Take an inhale, reach through your middle finger on your right hand. Exhale, come back to center. Drop your right hand to the mat. Bend your right elbow. Extend your left hand up and over. Dropping your right shoulder and energizing all the way through your left elbow to the fingertips. You should be able to see so that arm is not hiding your face. Take that shoulder back. Thanking the upper half of your body, your arms, your hands, your shoulders for doing all the work. Come back up. Good. Bring your hands to heart center. Rub your hands together. Close your eyes. Create friction here and some heat. We'll rub our hands together for about 5 more seconds. I'll count. And when I say 1, place the palms of your hands over your eyes with your eyes closed. 3, 2, 1. Put that energy right on your eyes. Close your eyes. Block out the light. Absorb the energy that you already have within you. You just have to find a way to create it. Take a breath in and a breath out. Release your hands. We're going to do fallen deer, so you can bring your hands down to your lap. If you have your right ankle crossed in front, that's what I'm going to say. So if you have the other ankle around, that's okay. But basically your front leg is going to stay that way, and your other one is just going to go behind you. How's that for your knees?
Not great. You go on, I'll catch up.
Okay, so if it's not good for your knees, then the other option is I would have you to be here. So right leg is bent, other one is in front. Elevate this right knee, and that's going to help a lot. Because then you're not having to let that leg just drop. So give some support all the way from the shin. So now you've got a nice cushion here on the right knee. Did that help? All right, Victoria, if you want to join me, I've got this other knee bent back. All right. Because either way, we're all going down together this way. So whichever way we are, squared shoulders, squared hips. You might have your leg out or back behind you. Slowly bring your fingers to the floor in front of you. And start to gently, like you were creeping up on something. So we're not running, we're creeping. Creep your fingers forward. Till you get to a point where your hips start to want to roll up off the floor and then stop. And let your head drop. So whenever we're in yoga, we go in the same order of priority. Figure out the physical pose. So get yourself somewhere. That's what our mind needs to focus on first, because we can't move on if we're unsure physically where you're supposed to be. Then stop. Set your gaze. In this case, I invite you to keep your eyes closed. Just let your head hang. Let that gaze be internal, like you were focused on the spot at the tip of your nose. And then find your breath. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And with your head collapsing this way, it can be nice to take some breath out through the mouth. Deep breath in. Big sigh out through your mouth. And perhaps you find after a couple breaths, you feel like you might be able to creep your fingers an inch or two more forward. And if not, that's okay. But notice how if you are leaning forward, not only are you getting some stretch through the bent knee, but also through your lower back. And if you're holding tension in your chin, just let that go. Let your head hang. If it's not comfortable for your neck, for your head to hang, you always have the option of taking a block, stacking it on its end, and then having a little landing pad for your forehead right there. And you have time to grab that block right now if you want to, because we're going to stay here for about 30 seconds. If you're the kind of person that starts to run to a to-do list or to the things that are bothering you when you encounter stillness, I invite you to start teaching your mind to go to gratitude first. Just start naming the things right here around you that you're grateful for right now. Taking your time, we're going to back out. So rather than just abruptly standing up, walk your hands gently back towards your bent knee. Going really slowly again, like you're creeping away. Come all the way back up. If you had your left foot behind you, bring that leg around. If you had your left leg out, then you're going to switch. So if you had your left leg out, take your right leg out this time and bend your left knee. Otherwise, with your left knee bent, bend your right knee, bring it behind you. Bring your foot behind you. And then this is where I totally notice the difference between my two sides. On my right hip, it's tighter, so that knee comes way up. Left knee has no problem getting to the floor. Either way, you can have some support underneath this left leg. Think of making the back of your neck long. Before you move at all, rather than being here, get the collarbone wide. Crown of your head really lifting. Take a breath. You can keep your eyes closed. Let your fingers find the way as you start to creep your hands forward gently. Find that place where you feel like you're really reaching and you feel your hips maybe start to want to roll forward. You feel enough in your back, and then let your head relax. Find some grounding from your fingertips, maybe through your palms. Here's your physical posture. Set your gaze. Gaze and intention being synonymous. And then breathe. Again, option to have an open mouth sigh. Knowing that when you leave your mat tonight, when you roll it up, and you get ready for the rest of your evening and to go to sleep, you are lighter. You are toning your nervous system here. Be intentional with your breath. Perhaps for 23 hours and 15 minutes of every day, your breath just goes and you don't have to think about it. But right now, be intentional with that breath. Deep inhale, long exhale. Maybe your fingers can creep just a little bit more. About 2 more slow breaths right here. It takes courage to be patient. Gently, slowly creep back out. Walking your fingers a little bit at a time back towards your bent knee. Bringing your chest all the way up. Take a couple big breaths here. Sit comfortably. Shrug your shoulders a few times. Roll your neck around. All right, I promised a pigeon on each side. No, it's your favorite. Come to your hands and knees. Take your right foot forward, so you're on your left knee. Scoot your left knee back a bit. I like to set myself up for pigeon by starting in lizard. So right foot is on the ground, nice stack of right foot over ankle. If your hands don't readily reach the floor, use your block to elevate. This is the big stretch through this front of the back leg and through the inside of your front leg. Letting yourself be more open now to be able to walk your right foot across to the left side of your mat. Drop your right knee to your right wrist. Scoot your left knee back. And then we'll fold forward. If you find that you need some support underneath this right hip, this is also, you can put some support there and then you can drop onto that right hip. So look, I have this blanket here underneath the elevated right hip, and then I can drop down into that and fold. That takes pressure off of your knee, but keeps the stretch. Use your block so that your head isn't just hanging around. So if you've got your block or something like that, you can put your block so that your forehead has a spot here. My elbows are bent, so my forearms can help support me. If you don't have the block, you could make a pillow or a little stack of your fists, one on top of the other, to do that as well. Breathe here. Pigeon pose is a hip opener. So if you're shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears, intentionally try to draw your shoulders down away from your earlobes so that you can relax into that hip. A fair amount of compression happens in this pose through your knee. So if it gets to a point where it's uncomfortable, as a reminder, you could do pigeon on your back, crossing your right ankle on top of your left thigh when you're on your back. One more deep breath here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Put your hands on the ground, maybe tenting your fingers. Just lift your chest. Try to draw your shoulder blades together and push the mat away so you get a little opening through your chest and the front of your body here before you bring your left knee up. And we'll reset for the other side. So move your things so you can move them on the other side. And we'll start again in a tabletop. Maybe a couple cat-cows here to reset. Then take your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Scoot your right knee back. This is lizard. If both hands don't go on the mat, you can use a block right underneath your hands. Just use that prop to make the floor come to you. If you'd like, you can also keep your right hand down, take your left hand, put it on your left knee and push that knee away. If you feel like you're kind of being split in two, that's probably right. Opening helps, I think, when you go into the compression of pigeon. So walking your left foot across to your right wrist. Drop your left knee to your left wrist. Adjust. Now my left hip is what's lifted, so you can put that pillow or towel or whatever you have underneath your left hip. And if you need to, you can drop a little weight onto that side. And then fold forward. So listen to your body. This is pretty intense. Not perfect for everybody, so you can always do the version that's lying on your back if you need to. In which case your left ankle would cross on top of your right thigh with your right knee bent, right foot on the floor. Find a place for grounding through your head. So use your block or your two fists stacked on top of each other. Here we are again. Find the physical posture. Set your gaze, even if it be internal. Breathe. For some of you, this is very uncomfortable. For all of us, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, at least. This is that opportunity to lean into the discomfort because you're intentional about your breath. You're intentional about the benefit of stretching your body, stretching your mind, stretching your comfort zone. One more breath here. Take a big breath in. Open your mouth, let something go, sigh it out. Gently lift up your chest, tighten your fingers, press your hands down into the floor, lift your chin a bit, draw your shoulder blades down and back. Big opening through the front of your body. And then drop onto your left hip. Swing your right leg around. Your choice if you want to be supported during our final moment of rest, if you want to use that pillow again underneath your shoulders, maybe underneath your knees, or if you just want to lay down flat on the mat. Whatever feels right for you. This is Savasana, but the name of the pose is Corpse Pose. And in yoga, the meaning of the corpse pose is that we close our practice this way, because then when we open our eyes and we honor the light in one another by saying namaste, it's like a new birth every single time you go through your yoga practice. Putting the physical body as a gateway to be able to align your mind. If it's there for you, ready to pick, ripe and in front of you, set your intention for this week. If you're not sure yet, just recognize that that needs to continue to grow and ripen overnight. And you can spend some time again in the morning, being in this quiet space. But at least choose what your intention will be, how you'll spend your energy, what you want to manifest. Take another deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Wiggle your fingers. Circle your wrists. Wiggle your toes. Bend your knees, hug your knees into your chest. Make your way to your side and up to a seat. Take your time. Maybe keep your eyes closed the whole time so that you feel your body just move through that space. Trusting you'll get there. Meeting with your hands together. I offer you clarity for your week, purpose, and to honor the light in others as I honor the light in each of you. Namaste.
Namaste.